All right, so this isn't recent, but I've been asked, well, not asked, but sometimes I hear people mention like, "Oh man, that's cool. You're traveling. It'd be nice if I can do that, man." Or, um, tongue in cheek, people say, "I envy that ability to travel and shit like that," which, like I said, is tongue in cheek. But I wanted to finally, once and for all, explain why I am in a position to travel like I am in the first place. First of all, I've always been one to explore and venture out. So it's always been something innate in my nature. Um, but as I got older, I've, and I mean older in terms of like teenage years on up, um, the feasibility of travel emotionally became easier and easier and easier and completely easy due to a sort of alienation from my community. Now, my community would lie and say, "Oh, we don't feel like that about you, and that's just in your head. We love you," and shit like that, right? But ignore the consequences of their words and their implications on me, and ignore the idea that people's words have meanings. So instead of feeling unappreciated and forcing myself on people that don't like me naturally like I do for people. I meet people that are autistic, slow, fast, smart, cute, ugly, ghetto, smart, wise, intelligent. I let them be them without passing judgment, and I accept them for who they are and don't give a damn. As long as we're cool in that moment, I'm cool. But other people aren't as savvy. So when I have gone through my community and family and stuff like that, and done inventory, whether it was at the moment or even in hindsight, uh, I've always detected a sense of non-acceptance for just who I am. And instead of forcing myself on people, I've been able to just say, "Fuck it, I'm out." And one of the things that back up and reinforce my disposition is the fact that I consider the source. So, and I don't hope I don't offend or come off as talking shit, but it's just the facts in my world. Just like anyone who would have an issue with it has facts for themselves in their world. But I consider the source. So I go to analyze what are the what is the productivity? Who's saying these things about me? Um, what is the history of um, your your background or where you come from, and how do y'all get down, and how have y'all succeeded or failed, or what gives you this expertise or this perspective, um, and how are you projecting that on me versus who I should be. Now, I come from the urban environment. I call it the urban environment because I'm tired of saying the hood or the ghetto. But I mean, I did after a certain point attend school with probably like lower middle class people to middle class people, seen blacks, seen whites all my life. But the people that would have like who gives most people that attachment or that homely feel, that homely vibe, that prevents people from breaking loose or from their tribe and venturing out in the world. Um, they didn't necessarily support my decision makings or who I am naturally. And I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but I hope not. So what I was able to do all my life was say, let me just go out into the world and see what's out there. And when I got out into the world, I didn't switch up who I am. But what happens is when I get out into the world, I receive compliments on who I am, and I receive motivation and inspiration from people. And what's the word I'm looking for? I receive um, encouragement, which is extremely important. Whereas I don't necessarily get that from my background, right? People that I, friends and family, whatever that I grew up with, they don't necessarily provide encouragement. Now, they might say they do, but I don't have to lie. The way that the words come off or their meanings um, aren't encouraging as it is when I meet people out in the world doing the same exact behaviors, sounding the same, using the same words, behaviors, speaking on my intentions and things like that. And so, what has kind of happened over time is like groupthink, or maybe like groupthink, or just like a, a spread of a consensus that don't sit well with me. And so, like I mentioned, instead of taking that and going into a shell, that dynamic, forcing um, myself upon people who don't accept me as I am, I go out in the world, and then, first of all, I love myself, I enjoy myself, I critique myself, and I think I'm awesome, I think I'm special and shit. I have my own unique abilities and talents and gifts. And other people recognize that out in the world, whereas my friends and family don't, which is common. I mean, supposedly, Jesus' family didn't like him. A lot of people have issues with their families, and they spend their whole life trying to be accepted by them. I didn't do that. I didn't choose that route. And incrementally, there's like a certain level of ostracization that has taken place. So it has afforded me the ability to not feel so attached to friends and family of my upbringing. And it allows me to go out and travel. Now, as a consequence of being ostracized, um, things that I actually took a liking to, like my child, my son, um, I have been made inconsequential. Um, things like, so whereas I love my son and let's say and want him to be the best that he can, due to a stigma or a reputation, you know, I I haven't been afforded the ability to steer him in a direction um, necessarily away from ghetto groupthink. Um, and and so he's taking on the prevailing ideas. Although I love him and I want to be around him, right? The conditions don't exist for that to happen. So I am able to go out here in this world and satisfy my personal soul's desire. Um, and that's how I ended up with the ability to be free without attachments. I ration that if these people right here, like if I go on my Facebook right now, and I hope I don't hurt nobody's feelings, but the people that I'm friends with on Facebook and stuff like that, friends and family, the content within those few hundred people are brainless. It it's it's inconsequential, not as much success as I prefer. There are people that I've befriended or people that I've known all my life that are doing very damn well. And there's a distinct difference from the stuff that they choose to post versus the other stuff that people choose to post that um, I'm talking about. And that's kind of what I've gotten from my travels or, my traversing through the ghetto or the hood or the urban environment as I call it nowadays. And That shit is deprecating. And I want the best for everyone, unbeknownst to anyone that bumps into me, whether they outdo me or not. So if I feel that way about other people, what do I feel about myself? I'm just extremely blessed to not feel compelled to be accepted by a mentality that oppresses, self-hate or self-pity or anything like that. Because once again, if I sought to appease the people that has ostracized me, I would be dead or in jail, unhappy, not satisfying my own personal desires, but living for other folks. I'm not mad at nobody that has chosen the path that they have chosen, but I am extremely proud of myself for being an independent person because I have friends and family. They're dead. They're in jail. They're they're relegated to a network of nothingness, and I'm not. You know what I mean? And that itself fortifies and supports my intuition to just do me. It is extremely unfortunate that doing me requires me to continually uh, fall in love with strangers as opposed to people that you've been told due to our relation or blood, we're supposed to be the tightest of all. What they say, whatever, to be tight. It has not afforded me that ability. And I know people. I know there's a lot of people that have been or are in this particular situation. They feel obligated and attached to their upbringing, their gang, their affiliations, their friends and family and shit like that. And they're gonna stay stagnated their whole life until they say, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm out. I'm gonna go see what the world has to offer me because this particular tribe is not serving me, but they're scared of the unknown. That's something can't nobody else conquer but, oneself, an individual. So yeah, um, I'm able to travel because however God set the situation up, He made it to where my attitude towards life, my mentality about myself, my personality, my gifts, my qualities, they lead me to second guess bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Um, and when I go to look at the shit, I don't I don't I don't want parts of it. Now it's hard to when you grow up around a lot of people, man. That like when your background, when you went to high school with maybe 5 millionaires, you know, as opposed to maybe let's say you graduated with a class of 200, and 5 of them, kind of hit, $1 million or whatever, and the rest don't, versus people that come from environments where the same 200, uh, 15 millionaires, 100, 100,000naires, shit like that. It's a different um, networking pool, and it's going to be a different. It's going to be a different battle that you have to fight because you're damn near resourceless. Um, Unlike the people that heard about the gold in the Wild Wild West and said, "Fuck it, I ain't got no fear. I'm gonna die here anyway." You know, fucking with slavery, whatever, however that shit worked, whatever was going on back in them times. The explorer. My example is like I always give people is like, if you go to Mars, would you go to your cubicle? Would you go to your job only, go there and go home and go back to work again? Would you go explore? A lot of people said they would go explore Mars. I know I would, and I'm not sure when I will return. But here's what has always happened to me. I go, I explore the world, I come back, and I share what I've learned with people. And they go, oh, cool. And they continue doing the same thing they've been doing. They be stuck in the same spots. They kind of doing the same thing with a couple of variations. This person's in jail. This person has passed away. Um, uh, this person, still doing the same thing. This person has done this or that. You know, that's unmotivating. So why would I endeavor to share the same plight of the environment that I come from? Now, I'm not saying Pittsburgh is a terrible city. It's a really kind of cool setup, but with within the black sphere of Pittsburgh, um, as time has progressed, I know like people may have been successful back in the day, musicians and things like that, but as time has progressed, it hasn't afforded the city a overwhelming amount of black success, and it's disheartening. And I see it in other places that I've gone and I be in. Like, from what I understand, people don't leave certain sides of town. They don't leave the city, certain sides of town, maybe the couple little states around them, and they don't have any excuse. I mean, there's passport costs less than tennis shoes nowadays, and all it takes is your ambition, and motherfuckers just are so uninspiring. So, what do I do? You only live once, they say. That does not mean go get drunk and high and take pills and drink because you only live once. What it means to me is you go do shit that you normally wouldn't do. You go camp. You ride a bike up a trail, down the trail. You go climb a volcano, climb a mountain, jump off of waterfalls, ski, fly an airplane, jump out the bitch, bungee jump if you got the guts, ride roller coasters from city to city, whatever. Catch bus rides long as fuck. You make friends with people that you from different cultures that you normally wouldn't bump into. You take you take people that you know and love and like and help and offer to enrich their positions in life if you can. You become you dibble and dabble in different professions that you normally wouldn't do. You go get educations outside of your uh, what's the word, outside of what you think you're capable of. You go explore the options and shit. So that's how I ended up able to travel, because I wasn't the kind of person that wanted to sit and blend in to, I mean, I might repeat myself, but what does it gain me, right? To blend in and be accepted by the more, let's call it the consensus. What is it, the status quo? What the fuck does the status quo have to offer under these conditions? Now, I don't know how Sweden gets down, or Finland, or Amsterdam, or Canada. Some of these more affluent areas, maybe, some of these more well-to-do societies. But in American society, we all know if you slip, you're done. It's going. You got to climb up out of a hell of a hole. So, what does it benefit me to go be accepted by people and dim my light to be accepted by these people when the movers, the shakers, the more successful people have typically, especially when it comes to Pittsburgh, left. They leave and go succeed and get perceived as all these different negative connotations, unless they have a likable, marketable persona. Maybe they're a rapper or an athlete or like some successful businessman that didn't get a chance to offend anyone with their opinions of them. Um, this is the dynamic that I have had to deal with. So it's and I'm not I'm not perfect. Obviously far from it. Um, but like I have emotions and feelings too. Um, and I guess my matter of fact attitude. I've been called pompous, bougie, and things like that. My particular attitude towards the situations have pushed me out of the loop, so I don't have these typical attachments. You know what I'm saying? I don't have these obligations. I was willing to father my child. I could remember. I tell everyone this. I could remember the moment as soon as he was born. Like weeks after that, I went. I only had a couple $100 in my account, but I went to the mall and spent it all on him. I have intentions on being a father to my child, right? And people had other plans for me. Sued for child support, and I was only 17, and I had a scholarship to play football. Like who does that? Um, and I was willing to like work. I still to this day will go to McDonald's and work for my son if he need me to. Um, she went to his mother took him to Atlanta with her government assistance at the time. I was going to college. Boom. I didn't even have a say in that. Um, you know. So I mean, I it's been a blessing. I won't ever take that back. Um, I won't ever, 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 ever ask for it any other way. Um, but for whatever reason, God granted me some serenity, and He also kept me spiritually free to be able to not grow overly attached to people to where I'd be willing to be a popular dumbass in an urban dwelling. See, getting on camera and doing this, like I have so many individual thoughts that I know I'm leaving out. Um, and I'm gonna get better at it. But there's things I want to say, and I feel myself repeating myself. But um, maybe that's just my knack for being guarded. Not guarded like a sucker, but more so able to guard secrets and be secretive and be conciliatory, but not in a conniving way. I promise. And I mean, half of starting this channel was so that I could express my side of any particular story, and give my take on my personal life without someone being able to preempt it with their opinion. So, as I continue to go, I know I'm gonna get better at this shit. I mean, I've already done this particular video, which I've been wanting to do for so long, and I still don't feel like I've done it any kind of justice. Um, I go in and out of like focus of being in my head, um, going to the shelves, picking and choosing what I want to share, and then bringing it to this camera that I'm looking at. And I could do better than that. But yeah, that's why I get to travel. So when I came across that app, um, it was just a no-brainer. I didn't even think twice. people that I know have misunderstood and mistreated me, um, or underutilized me, although I had the best of intentions for them. So I was able to just be like, man, I'm out. Because one of my dreams all my life was to go see all 50 states. So, here we are. I'm traversing. And it comes with a small price, which is I didn't get a chance to see my son grow. I call and I check up on him and I listen to what he's up to. I'm not overly impressed or overjoyed, but I'm still proud of him. And I told him that a long time ago. No matter what, a couple things he can't do, and I'm happy. Um, I wish I could bring some people along with me and shit like that, but I've accepted that I'm a weirdo. Um, and the only people that call me that is poverty minded motherfuckers. So it's like, oh, okay, big deal. I'm telling you, when I go watch all the people that are inclusive, I feel embarrassed for having known them. I feel dumb. People that watch. I mean, I'm telling you, I come from people that know all the Love and Hip Hop characters and know all the newest rap musics and just know all the things that keep you down, mentally and distract you mentally. And I'm sitting here trying to uplift myself and anyone around me. And it's like that scene from Menace to Society where dude was like, come on, brother, all that kind of shit. We're supposed to be brothers and all that shit. And they be like, man, if you don't get your Salaikum Salam ass off the water cooler and hand me my motherfucking brew. It's like, man, nobody want to hear that shit. So slowly but surely, I stopped, trying to motivate people around me to do anything of any consequence. And I'm proud of myself because instead of going into a show and being disheartened or being let down or going through some kind of a woe is me type of state, I say fuck it. And I'm telling you, it's easier to say fuck it based on who I was supposed to have to be accepted by. Now, if I was in a tribe or came from a city or family, whatever like that, a whole bunch of constituents, peers, whatever like that, that had a history of success, that'd be a whole different ball game. You know what I mean? I would feel like, all right, Kareem, you're cutting up. If these people say, you ain't doing something right, then you're tripping. But that ain't the case. Every time I look up, I had another location on my belt. I'm always doing something. I don't want to talk about money like that, but typically I end up having. I get more mileage out my cash, let's say. Um, but I'm unpopular. Go figure. But yeah, I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of my travels thus far. I'm seeing and doing shit that I wouldn't normally do. When I was young, I thought you had to be like 50, retire. And 50 ain't even a retirement age. I just always thought 50 was where, if you got lucky, whatever like that in life, you fall back for a while and you get to go travel. But then I always thought about like, what the fuck? You have poor health. So who the fuck wants poor health when they go climb some volcanoes? So I found a way to be able to do it. Now I'm telling you, I've been traveling since I was 19 years old. I mean, probably a lot sooner than that if I really want to get into it. But I mean, I've been in different cities and states and shit like that since forever. But it's just now that I'm doing it in this particular manner and starting a channel and trying to grow it and shit like that. And it won't be too long before I feel motivated and inspired and encouraged to get back to the type of speech and content that I grew up on, because I mean I kind of took a major cut, took a back seat to offering words of wisdom to people that I knew and loved, because people that I know, they don't really want to hear that shit. They're just trying to make it through another day, or they're dealing with pain and hurt, and I don't like pain and hurt. I get away from that shit. You're not playing with my emotions. Fuck your music. Fuck all that shit y'all go through. I'm a happy person, so I gave up on trying to motivate people around me to you know, to see outside that box. And plus, I realized, due to my the perception of me, my word just kind of has been kind of invalidated. But like I said, when I look back and I consider the source of these same very people that I'm thinking of and talking about, I go to assess their successes and their backgrounds and what they're up to and who they have to please and who they get along with and who approves of them. And I don't worry about shit. Because all my life I've been encouraged, inspired, and complimented by my teachers, older gentlemen. They pull me to the side, let me know that I'm doing the right thing. So, that's that. And the video ends in like 30 seconds. So, if I didn't stutter or repeat myself too much and it's cool, then I'll just keep it and I'll publish it. If not, then maybe I'll shoot another one. All right then.